The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
You know, it's just terrible. Like, that was your brother for the longest time, and then he
7
tried to
years.
scuff you out. Listen, I'm going to make a swing to the right a little bit. We all know what was been going on with Vince McMahon, and most recently, a story's coming out about him being on an airplane with all the boys on, with Ashley Massaro. He's finger banging the shit out of her, and then he tells everybody to get off the plane. And then they're watching the plane go back and forth. Now, I know you weren't around when Massaro was around, but you were around with Alunda Breeze, Wendy Richter, Sherry Martel. Did Vince McMahon back then show those traits? Do you believe that he's this guy?
No, I didn't see him. That doesn't mean he didn't. It just means I never saw that part. When I heard about him shitting on a girl or somebody in the office, that him and I guess Laurinaitis and Lesnar or whoever would all come get on her or whatever, when he was sharing her with everybody. But when they told about the shitting on a glass table above her and stuff, and was shit on her, I'm like, come on, Vince, I hope that's not true. Because I don't want to see Vince in that light,
Well, he is like 80 years old, man. I mean, you do lose
which makes it
control.
worse.
You lose control of that, right? So, maybe he just fell out.
It was just like that girl when I said
No. With Vince, it's lack of control. With that, you forced that out of her, right? So there's a difference there.
So what you're saying is that Vince wrote his loose bowel into the script. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
pretty much. That's amazing.
Yeah, that whole.
So since you never saw Vince do any of this, right?
Right.
I'll even ask you this. There's also the rumor that, your friend Brutus Beefcake tells, or somebody tells a story that Vince was coming out of the room with Shawn Michaels, and I think it might have been Pat Patterson. Like, they had their way with Shawn Michaels. Did you ever hear that story?
No. No, and I would go to doubt that. Now this is going to be horrible if it gets back to Shawn, because I'm not trying to dog him or anything, but I've always had to answer to, I'm not going to say the Rock and Roll Express or any who, but would always say, your partner's, that way, right? Your partner's that way. And I don't, the evidence circumstantially would say, okay, why, when we were in Nashville, making no money, having to stay in split hotel rooms at $14 a night, $7 a night, eat at the Chinese buffet for $5 and eat enough you don't got to eat again till tomorrow at the same place. Compiling your money up together so you can get by a day. Then you go hang out with Ronnie Gossett, who was a known gay man that would pay the young boys to ride with him or whatever. Leave me at the hotel one night, which I'm like, Shawn, I can't afford the place by myself. Ronnie was like, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Paid for Shawn's half of the room. Shawn goes and stays with him at a Hilton or whatever downtown Nashville. And the next day when they come get me to go to the next town, Shawn's got a full-length leather jacket on. He's got some snakeskin or ostrich skin cowboy boots. He's got black leather pants. And I guess this is back when that was starting to get popular. He's got a goddamn $500 to $1,000 worth of clothes on. We can't even pay for a hotel room. How did that happen?
Did you ask him?
I think I just I might have teased him when he was drinking or something. So, goddamn, man, you the pitcher or the catcher, playing or something. But I really just chose to believe that he didn't go that route. But then again, everywhere we would go, the gay guys, it was like a magnet. There was a guy out of Memphis that wanted to fly him up to Louisville on his own private flight. And Sean went with him, told me he'd see me up in Louisville, get back with me. So you're going to take off in this private jet with a known get, in disguise. I mean, the things like that did surprise me. You know, I
Marty,
just
let me ask you this: throughout your illustrious career, were you ever approached to go to the other side in order to push your or enhance your career? Or were you ever
no, not
approached by
not
anyone?
for that reason. Not to enhance the career. I was one of the agents, and I love him to death, so I don't want to say Terry Garvin's name. But
That's
he was he was known. He was third man in line. It was Vince, of course, and then Pat Patterson was second highest up on the office, and then Terry Garvin. And Terry was the one to help me get in WWE. But he was friends. I was friends with him since I started in Kansas City, and looking back, I feel bad about this because he would get us when we go to the clubs. He's like, "Hey guys," because we always were partying with the girls. "Hey, you guys, keep an eye out for me tonight. Keep an eye." Like, what do you mean? Look for me, a young boy. Look for me,
Oof.
and it was like, we're drinking and partying. We're thinking, okay, yeah, no big deal. Young boy, you're in a club. You got to be of age, right? And we would tell some of the guys we were guessing 21 over to Terry. Well, I ain't gonna say his name, but send him over there, and he would get all happy and cut up with them until they realized, oh no, I'm not that. I do remember Terry asking one time, "Can you find someone a little younger?" We're in a club, man. They can't get in if they're any younger. But it was
were you around for the Ring Boy scandal, Marty?
I was there. In fact, Kurt Hennig had a hell of a joke about it because Mel was known to like feet, feet fetish, and he had the young guys on the ring crew, and Kurt Hennig was like, "Hey, you hear what Mel's favorite food is? Free toes, free toes."
So, so let me ask you
Yeah,
this, and again, this is a serious thing. Do you believe that Mel Phillips, Terry Garvin, and Pat Patterson was accused, but later on, I guess they said he wasn't involved. Do you believe that they were taking advantage of these young boys?
I I do. I believe it. I don't doubt it. Um, and I would like to say, just Pat or just, but no, honestly, Mel didn't make it a secret. Um,
So
Terry,
can I ask you this then? I keep interrupting you, so I apologize.
that's
But
all right.
how about the morality? You mentioned Kurt Hennig, right? And I understand it's a
Yeah,
funny joke, but in the
yeah.
reality of it, you guys are grown men. You now really believe that someone like a Mel Phillips is sexually assaulting underage children, or it doesn't matter, sexual assault, sexual assault. How do you sit by and be like, this is okay, we'll just
I
joke
don't. I
about it?
don't think
Doesn't
we
really
looked
matter.
at it. I don't think we looked at it as he was assaulting them as much as we thought that's what happens. That's what they do. They're in on it in the sense that like, okay, they're gonna hustle him to get the job and he's gonna take it back. Kind of like that. If we would have thought it through, like you're saying, kind of, and thought, well, he's manipulating their minds, then, I think any of us would have stepped up. And I think somebody must have for him to have gotten caught. But yeah, that's what we look at it more of a, well, the kids are using them too, so they can get the job. They're agreed to it. It ain't getting hustled or mind fucked or anything like that.
So
But now of course,
kind of like Shawn Michaels had an agreement and went and did his thing in order to enhance his career. You're saying that type of situation.
yeah, I don't. I still would like to say that Sean didn't do that, but I mean, I know Terry Garvin, whose name I'm not going to say, when we were in Kansas City first starting, and Sean came through and was a friend of mine. I was hanging out with Sean, and Terry Garvin knew it, and he came over to me one time. He goes, "Hey, get Sean to go to the Crown, whatever hotel it was, the WWE was going to be in town." It was just telling couple $100. We were only making $50, a show, $70 a show or whatever. couple $100. All he's got to do is lay there, just lay there. And yeah, I didn't know what he was talking about or whatever. I said, I'll tell him. But afterwards found out he was talking about Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson was going to pay $200, $300, and all Sean had to do was lay there. And I
Wait,
found out that it was a factual thing that happened because Jimmy Powers, who's a very good friend of mine and had said he made a joke about it one time. He goes, "Yeah, gosh, damn it, they told me." He didn't say who was they, but you can figure it out. The office guy, yeah, they told me all I had to do is lay there, take a blowjob. I didn't have to do anything, and my career would be better. But he did. Here's what Jimbo would do about it. He goes, damn, I look back now, it's like shit. All I had to do was lay there.
well, he's living in his mom's basement now, right?
Who's Jimbo?
Yeah.
No, he's living with some lady up in somewhere in Wisconsin. He's not doing good.
Is what's wrong with Jim? What's going on with
He's
him?
losing his brain. He's starting to go. What is it when you get old like that? Where you no memory, you
Alzheimer's.
blank. Yeah, it's blanking out while you're walking. You don't know where you were going. And yeah, he's getting real bad with that.
Marty, was there a part of you that was jealous that you weren't asked to just lay there? Like, because I don't, you're not
no, because actually Terry Garvin did hit me up with that one time, but it wasn't for a career move or money. He just came by the room one night. We'd all been out partying. And I love Terry to death, but he'd sit there. He goes, "Marty, let me just stick it in my mouth. I was like, stop."
Did that
Well,
make you feel better though? Like, did you feel better about yourself when you're like, all right, cool, you at least gave me a shot at it?
That just wasn't ever my thing, and I couldn't even visualize it happening. Like, well, what would be like? No, I just never. But it was Terry. He was telling me, he goes, "Are you ready? Come on." I said, "Terry, stop now. I don't mind. He's cutting up once with it. Don't keep on." And you have never bothered me with this. I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna bother you.
By the way, Terry, we're on my alpaca carpet right now, so we really can't do anything.
And then he tells me though, if we're he comes in the hotel room, "Marty, here," and he gets the TV control and he's looking for a porno. "I'll pay for a porno. Just lay there, watch the porno." I'm like, "There, you gotta go, man." This is but that was
admit,
it.
though,
That
you
was
chose logs falling out onto the carpet instead. I don't know, Marty. All you got to do is lie there. That's all you had to do. You had one job. One job.
Yeah, that's what Jimmy Powers is funny. Damn, all I had to lay there, do is lay there, and I would have been a champion.
That's it. It would have been a millionaire. You kidding me? Look at that.
Marty, what's your take when, obviously a lot of shit went on back in the day. What's your take on guys like Mario Mancini and his good buddy Roma, finally coming out now about, I should have said something involving Rita, the female referee that Vince allegedly sexually, took
Yeah.
liberties. What's your thought on them saying stuff now after all these years? Why don't you say something then?
I think, sort of like what I was saying earlier, as we were in it, meaning, this was happening around us, we were mixed in with it. I don't think we were looking at it outside the box, like, hey, wait a minute, man, this is wrong. I don't think we were looking like I told you about the kids, it's like, okay, well, they're hustling, they're getting what they want. They know what they're doing. It's not nobody taking advantage, just to, and then now when you look back at it and think about it, it's like, I mean, that thought is still there that we're using each other, but it's just they're kids though. They're 15 years old, their mind's not even finished developing yet. Their brain's still growing. But yeah, it was a shame.
Do you think there was some self-preservation there also, Marty?
What do you mean?
Like, look, you want a career, right? So, I don't really want to screw around with Pat Patterson or Terry Garvin. They can end my career. I'm a professional wrestler. I don't want to be screwed over. I just should keep my mouth shut.
Nah, I mean, if it felt like, they're screwing this kid over, wouldn't have been a problem whatsoever. Just never really felt like that,
How about as you're older now, when you look back at all this stuff, do you have any regrets that maybe you should have stepped in?
Well, it's not regrets. It's just disappointment. I was that fucking naive and stupid. Um, if you, for example, as I was talking about earlier, when Terry would ask us to send him young boys over to him, and then at one time he goes, "Oh, some younger," like, goddamn, now Terry can't get in there under. But I look back at it now, thinking, that wasn't even right. You don't recruit for him to do that. We're out there recruiting for him. Man,
Listen,
we're trying to get our
I'm
girls.
not trying to like crucify you or anything, but you announced on our show a couple of years back, which was infamous, that you had a situation where someone tried to take advantage of you and you handled it, right?
You talk about in the bowling
Yeah,
alley thing?
yeah,
Yeah,
the whole bowling alley thing, right?
yeah,
So I would think this kind of situation would be closer to home to you than anybody else.
yeah. And you put it in that context there, you would think, yeah. But again, like I said, with the ring boy stuff, if we're still in that area, like I said, if I ever thought that they were in danger, I know myself, I would have, done something, said something, got somebody somewhere to, hey, this is happening. I just never felt that anybody was doing anything they didn't want to do. In other words, they weren't taking them and putting them in the back of the ring truck behind them. They're saying, you're going to do this. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just agreement amongst, but then again, the agreement was amongst a kid and a man.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
can look at it like that.
how can a 15-year-old know exactly what he's agreeing to in the first place?
Well, when I was at the bowling alley, a prime example was, I was 14. My nephew, well, I don't want to say who it was, but somebody in my family was right about 14. We were 6 months apart. And there was a couple other kids that worked in the back of the boat, going and fixing the machines when the pin would get stuck in there and clog it from resetting. We did that kind of thing at the back of the bowling alley, fixing the machines, basically, oiling the floors at night. But so, you had these 14, 15-year olds, working there. And there was that guy who worked the front desk. And he would take, I don't want to say my cousin or family member, but whoever it was in my family, would take him on a car ride. That's why that shit happened with me, because I guess he assumed I would be like them. But he would take them on a ride down the street. There's a couple of them told me, like, I was like, because I was 14, I'm like, well, what happens? What's going on? What do y'all do? And he would ride them down the street, have them drive, and he would, I hate saying all this out in the open, but he would blow them while they were driving and then pay them like I think back then, $40 to do that. And the kids were going for it. When he wanted to do it, they wanted to, holler at one, hey, who wants to do this? They'd go take a ride and they get $40. Um,
Wow.
I guess because that happened in my life. I mean, I was exposed to that kind of, this is life. Maybe that carried over later with the ring truck crew or whatever. It's like, okay, they're in agreement with it. Like certainly I don't want to say, cousin, nephew, or whoever, and certainly don't want to say Ray, my nephew, but he was more than happy to go get that $40. It was like he had told me one time. I remember he said, if I do this long enough, I can get me a car, like a cheap car, like through $300, $400 car. If I can do this long enough to get a car, I'll be done with this guy. But I mean, I say
And to think, Mike, I delivered auto parts for $4.97 an hour. Oh, I could have just been going for a fucking ride.
That's it. You know what? Everybody's got a price, Jimmy. So